When you reach Baku, the capital city of Azerbaijan, you will probably come across glass seat skyscrapers, an ultra-modern airport, shiny sports venues, shopping malls that look like spaceships, and many of the world's luxury hotel brands, including Four Seasons, Fairmont, Jumeirah, and Hyatt Regency. Blessed with massive oil and gas reserves, Azerbaijan is set to become the next Dubai. How prosperous and developed Azerbaijan may seem because of its stunning architectural wonders, all is not well with Azerbaijanis. To see if Azerbaijan is destined for a bright or a bleak future, we must understand the political system within which politics take place in Azerbaijan. After Azerbaijan declared its independence from USSR on 30 August 1991, the Constitution of Azerbaijan was adopted on 12 November 1995. The Constitution of Azerbaijan declares it as a secular, democratic, unitary republic. Being a unitary republic, Azerbaijan doesn't have state or provincial governments, unlike the US, which has 50 state governments alongside a federal government at the center. Azerbaijan follows a semi-presidential system of government just like Poland or Ireland or South Korea. In a semi-presidential system, president exists alongside a prime minister and a cabinet. The semi-presidential system is different from parliamentary system in that president is not a ceremonial figurehead but has real executive powers and is popularly elected. The semi-presidential system is different from the presidential system in that prime minister and cabinet, although appointed by the president, is responsible to the legislature and can be removed by the legislature. In some countries, the president and the prime minister share equal executive powers. However, in other countries, either the president or the prime minister exhibits more executive powers than the other. And in case of Azerbaijan, president is more powerful than the prime minister. Generally, two types of elections are held in Azerbaijan. One is presidential election and another is parliamentary election. While the presidential elections are held for the post of president, the parliamentary elections are held for 125 seats in the National Assembly of Azerbaijan, that is Milli Majlis. While the president is elected for a 7-year term, the National Assembly of Azerbaijan has a 5-year term. And in February this year, Azerbaijan is going for parliamentary elections. Since 1990, there had been 6 parliamentary elections and 8 presidential elections. The incumbent president Ilham Aliyev from the New Azerbaijan Party has been in power since 2003, and before that his father Heydar Aliyev was the president from 1993 until 2003. As an outsider, it may seem to you Ilham Aliyev might be winning elections after elections because of his pro-people welfare policies, but the truth is much more complicated. As common in almost all the 15 former Soviet republics, free and fair election is a distant dream in Azerbaijan. In the 2018 presidential election, a total of 8 candidates ran for the presidency. While Ilham Aliyev got 86.02% of the vote share, the candidate who came second got only 3.12% of the vote share. And the elections were held at a time when Ilgar Mammadov, the most favored opposition candidate, was in jail. Mammadov was arrested in February 2013, just before the 2013 presidential election, and was released from jail in August 2018, just after the completion of 2018 presidential election. The fairness of Azerbaijan's elections can be gauged from the fact that all 3 major opposition parties, Musawa, Popular Front, and Real, had boycotted the 2018 presidential election. Electoral malpractices such as multiple voting, ballot stuffing, and carousel voting are the norms of elections in Azerbaijan. Carousel voting, a practice which is generally attributed to Russian elections, is an election tactic in which voters are transported from one place to another in order to cast multiple votes. To make things even worse, the Central Election Commission of Azerbaijan declared 2013 presidential election results before voting had even started for the election. In 2016, a referendum was held on 29 amendments to the constitution. The referendum introduced several controversial changes to the constitution, including one that extended president's term in office from 5 to 7 years. And the 2-term limit on president had already been scrapped in a 2009 referendum, paving the way for Ilham Aliyev to become president for life. Another amendment gave the president the power to dismiss the parliament if it passes two no confidence measures in 1 year or rejects presidential nominees to important government posts. Yet another created two vice presidential posts, both of which would be appointed by the president. The first vice president would assume the powers of the presidency if the president becomes incapable of discharging his duties. But before the referendum, it was the prime minister who should assume the powers of presidency if the president becomes incapable of discharging his duties. However, the irony is Heydar Aliyev, father of Ilham Aliyev and the then president, had held the 2002 constitutional referendum to ensure that the prime minister will get the power if the president gets ill or somehow is absent. And within a year, Heydar Aliyev got sick and appointed his son as the prime minister so that his son would get the powers of the president. And as expected, Ilham Aliyev appointed his wife Mehriban Aliyev as first vice president soon after 2016 referendum. Obviously, this is to ensure inheritance of power from him to his wife the same way he inherited power from his father. Every time Azerbaijan holds a constitutional referendum, it strengthens Aliyev family's grip on power and further underscores the fact that there is in fact a monarchy in Azerbaijan. In 2010, the campaign period was shortened to just 23 days. However, the irony is the Election Commission and Azerbaijani government interpreted the term campaign period by banning freedom of assembly, the right to promote a political agenda, and the right to engage in political advocacy outside this 23 days period, which means that no political rally or election campaign can be held unless and until this 23 days campaign period has started. The 2018 presidential elections were held at a time when nearly 161 Aliyev's critics, including journalists, opposition politicians, human rights activists, civil society actors and bloggers, were behind bars. With 166th rank in 2019 Press Freedom Index, Azerbaijan's media works in a very restricted and censored environment. Out of Azerbaijan's 9 national television stations, while 3 are directly owned by the state, 6 are privately owned but controlled by the state. When some independent journalists do able to criticize the Aliyev regime, they are put behind bars with fabricated cases of tax evasion or abuse of power or inciting violence, etc. The country has already banned international radio stations like BBC, Voice of America, Radio Free Europe or Radio Liberty from broadcasting on national frequencies. Since May 2017, over 20 news websites have been blocked, including websites of Radio Free Europe, Azadlik newspaper, Medan TV, Turan TV, Azerbaijan Sadi and others. One thing for which Azerbaijan's people and the ruling regime must be commended is the presence of religious freedom in the country. Azerbaijan is a secular nation despite over 90% of its people being Muslims. In fact, Azerbaijan is the first secular parliamentary state in the entire Islamic world. Secularism and multiculturalism are not just any constitutional norms but a way of living for majority of Azerbaijanis, and the state also actively supports it as part of the state policy. That is why, despite being in the geographic proximity to ISIS and Middle East, Azerbaijan has largely been able to prevent Islamic fundamentalism and radicalism in the country. Since Iran's parliamentary elections are going to be held on 21 February this year, our next video will be on politics in Iran. If you like this video, then hit the like button, drop in your comments below, subscribe to Very Well Informed and press the bell icon to keep yourself very well informed.